At the beginning of the story, we see an elderly man named Joe. Joe goes to the bank manager and says that he has received a yellow notice. The bank manager explains that the yellow notice means he has 2 months to vacate his house. But if he pays the money back, he can continue to live there. Just then, robbers enter the bank. They tell everyone to lie down on the floor. Joe also lies down, but the position causes him pain. A robber notices this and tells him he can lie down more comfortably. At that moment, Joe sees a tattoo on the robber's neck, a tattoo of the Mongol warriors. The robbers steal $1.6 million and escape. Later, Joe, being the only one who noticed the tattoo, helps the police by describing it. Afterward, he goes back home to his daughter and granddaughter. His daughter is shown to be very stressed. Joe also has 2 lifelong friends, Willie and Albert. Willie's daughter and granddaughter live far from him. Willie's financial situation is bad, and on top of that, he has a kidney disease. If he doesn't get a transplant soon, he will die. The operation costs a lot of money, which he doesn't have. Because of financial issues, even his daughter and granddaughter keep their distance. Albert too is struggling. He is in love with a woman, but even he suffers a lot due to money problems. One day, the 3 friends go to a company meeting where they used to work. There they are told that the company is shifting to another country, and as a result, pensions are being stopped. The 3 of them are deeply disappointed. When Joe returns home, he finds another notice from the bank, this time a red notice. It means he has only 1 month left to vacate his house. This also means that his daughter and granddaughter will become homeless. Joe realizes that if he wants to save his house, he must repay the bank loan. The next day, Joe goes to his friend Willie's birthday party, where everyone gifts him a wristwatch with a photo of his granddaughter inside. At the party, Joe discusses a plan with Willie and Albert to rob a bank. At first, Willie and Albert laugh it off as a joke. But later that night, while Willie is at home, he realizes how badly he needs money. So he calls Joe and says, "I'm in." However, Albert still refuses to join their plan. The following day, the 3 of them go together in Albert's car to a department store. There, Joe and Willie try stealing for the first time, but Albert does not participate. Since Joe and Willie are not skilled at stealing, the store guards quickly catch them and take them to the department owner. But since both of them are senior citizens, the owner lets them go with just a warning. Afterward, all 3 sit together at a restaurant. While drinking tea, they read in the newspaper that their company's decision to cut pensions has now become official. This means they will no longer receive any pension. Seeing this, Albert, who also badly needs money, finally agrees to join their plan. The biggest problem, however, is that none of the 3 knows how to actually rob a bank. They decide they need to learn from someone with real experience. So Willie and Joe go to the ex-husband of Joe's daughter, because Joe believes he used to be involved in shady activities. With his help, they find a man who runs a pet shop. Joe and Willie approach him and say, "We want to rob a bank. Can you help us make a plan? In return, we'll give you 25% of the money." At first, the man refuses to help. But when they explain their desperate situation, he agrees. The bank they plan to rob is the very same one that sent Joe the notice, the same bank that was robbed at the beginning of the story. The 3 of them begin taking photos of the building from all sides. They also start working on physical fitness and practice shooting. They must pull off the robbery within 20 days, because after 30 days Joe will be evicted from his house. They also participate in a charity organized by the army, which will host a big carnival in a few days. They plan to commit the robbery on the same day as the carnival, so if anyone suspects them, they will have proof that they were volunteering there. Finally, the day of the carnival arrives. The 3 are working there as volunteers, but cleverly and without raising suspicion, they disguise themselves and quietly slip away. First, they steal a car from near the carnival and drive it to the bank. They carry guns with them, but they have not loaded them with bullets because they don't want anyone to get killed, even by mistake. Once inside the bank, they point their guns at everyone. Since there had been a robbery there recently, people quickly lie down on the floor without resistance. Joe, Willie, and Albert begin the heist. At one counter, they order the cashier to put the money into bags. Willie keeps watch over everyone, but because of his illness, he becomes weak and collapses. Nearby, a little girl with her mother notices Willie. The child offers him her doll, saying, "You can take my doll." Willie gently replies, "No, I won't take your doll. My granddaughter is about your age." The girl then playfully tries to pull off Willie's mask. Half of his mask comes off, but her mother quickly fixes it back. In that moment, the girl notices Willie's wristwatch, the one with his granddaughter's photo inside. Despite this, the 3 men successfully complete the robbery. But just as they are about to leave, the bank manager pulls a gun on them. In response, the 3 point their own guns back at him. Even though their guns are not loaded, they manage to scare the manager. The three men cleverly escape from the bank. First, they go to the pet shop owner who had made the entire plan. They hand over all the stolen money to him. Then, with his clever planning, they return to the carnival in the exact same way they had secretly slipped out earlier. Since there are many CCTV cameras at the carnival continuously recording them, nobody can prove that they had disappeared for some time. To everyone, it looks as if they were present at the carnival the whole time. This way, it seems like they never left. Meanwhile, at the bank, the FBI arrives and starts checking the recorded CCTV footage. In one of the clips, they notice the moment when the little girl had pulled off part of Willie's mask. From this, the FBI figures out that the robbers are all men over 60 years old, because their movements are slow and elderly-like. The FBI then releases the footage to the public on the internet, asking people to contact them if anyone can recognize the robbers from their walk or body language. A few days later, Willie suddenly falls very ill. Joe and Albert rush him to the hospital, where they find out that Willie's kidneys have completely failed. He urgently needs a transplant, otherwise he will die. Willie had kept this truth hidden from Joe and Albert, and when they learn about it, they become deeply upset. Albert then says that he will donate his kidney to Willie. This means Willie will be able to get an operation soon and recover fully. Meanwhile, the owner of the department store, where Joe and Willie had earlier been caught stealing small items, appears again. Back then, Albert had also been with them. When Joe and Willie tried to escape, Albert too had run away. Now, after the FBI has made the bank footage public, the store owner watches it carefully. He notices the robber's walking style and compares it with Albert's walk that he had seen earlier. He realizes that one of the three robbers is Albert. The store owner realizes that if one of the robbers is Albert, then the other two must be Willie and Joe. He reports this to the FBI. The FBI then interrogates all three of them, asking where they were at the time of the robbery. The three reply that they were at the carnival. When asked where they were before the robbery, they all give different answers, explaining that they had been spending time with other people. This, in fact, was part of their plan. The FBI agent investigates further, but the three men's alibis hold up perfectly. Joe had spent time with his family and the woman he liked. Albert had been at the house of a lady who liked him, cooking breakfast for her. Willie had been at a restaurant. Each man had intentionally made sure he spent time with someone before the robbery, so there were witnesses. Everything they had said turned out to be true, leaving the FBI unable to prove otherwise. Still suspicious, the FBI brings in their special witness, the little girl who had briefly seen Willie's face during the robbery. She is shown a lineup of elderly men, one by one. When she stands before Willie, she stops and looks at him carefully. She even notices his hand and the same wristwatch she had seen during the robbery, the one with his granddaughter's photo inside. But when asked, she tells the FBI agents, none of them are the robbers. She smiles, protecting Willie. The agents know she is lying, but they have no evidence. Without solid proof, the FBI is forced to let the three men go. Later, Albert donates his kidney to Willie, saving his life. Willie recovers completely. One day, Joe meets the pet shop owner at a restaurant. Joe offers him his 25% share of the money. But the man refuses to take any share. Hearing this, Joe realizes the truth, that the very first robbery shown at the beginning of the story had been committed by this same man. Joe remembers how, when he had been lying on the floor in pain during that robbery, it was this man who had kindly told him he could lie more comfortably. The man tells Joe, "We must always take care of our senior citizens." Joe replies, "I know who you are. But the tattoo of the Mongol warrior that was on your neck, where did it go?" The man explains, "I made that tattoo on purpose. So that for the rest of their lives, the police and FBI would keep looking for someone with that tattoo, and never suspect me." Just then, the FBI agent who had been following Joe also arrives at the restaurant. He notices a box with the pet shop owner. But when he checks, it turns out the box only has a puppy inside. The agent also receives a card in his hand, but there's no evidence. Eventually, everyone leaves quietly. Later, the waitress, who had always been kind to them and often gave them free pie, even though they used to tip her very little, finds that Joe and his friends have left her a very generous tip as a gesture of gratitude. They also donate a large sum of money to the old age home they often used to visit. In the final scenes, Albert is shown marrying the lady he had been in a relationship with. All their friends and family attend, and everyone enjoys the wedding celebration with joy. The movie ends here.